Good morning, everyone. Now we are having our next lesson. Understand the dependent and independent variable. All right. So our lesson essential questions: what does it mean for one variable to be dependent on another variable? So we know we can identify the dependent and dependent variables. On our lesson overview, we could just work on what is the example one and example two, and then we could have more examples if possible. Okay, so here we go.
What does it mean for one quantity to be dependent on another quantity? Think about this question during the lesson. An orchard sells apples by the pound. Each day, P pounds of apples are sold, and the amount of money taken in, M, is recorded. Which variable, P or M, depends on the other variable? What are the quantities that change in this problem? How are these quantities represented? The quantities that change are the number of pounds of apples sold and the amount of money the orchard takes in. The quantities are represented with the variables P for pounds of apples and M for money. How can you determine which variable depends on the other?
All right, so let's pause this. Let's try to answer the question. So, which of B or M is the dependent variable? And why do you think it is? All right, let's get some answers.
To determine which variable depends on the other, think about what comes first and what follows in response. You weigh the apples, and then you pay. The amount of money depends on the number of pounds of apples.
When you think about how total cost is dependent on the amount and price of items sold, you are reasoning quantitatively.
A dependent variable changes in response to another variable. For the apple orchard, the amount of money, M, taken in, depends on the number of pounds, P, of apples sold. The more in, which is the dependent variable?
Select your answer.
You can call M, the amount of money taken in, the dependent variable. An independent variable causes the dependent variable to change. The number of pounds of apples sold, P, is the independent variable. How does the number of pounds of apples sold affect the amount of money the orchard takes in? What would happen if they sold no apples?
So with that, what would you think it's gonna be? So if they do not sell anything, then they will have no money, correct? So that's why M is the dependent variable and P is your independent variable.
If the orchard sells more apples, they make more money. If they sold no apples, they would take in no money. When the orchard sells 50 pounds of apples for a certain price, it will take in less than when it sells 65 pounds of the same apples. This is because the dependent variable, M, changes in response to the independent variable, P. Now you know.
We could try this question, right? So a baker used a certain number of cups of butter, B, to make P pancakes. Which variable P pancakes or B better is the dependent variable? And you could try to explain and we'll see. We'll discuss. So, but then, if the baker doubles the number of cups of batter used, what would you expect to happen to the number of pancakes? All right, here we go. Next example. A bike shop rents beach cruiser bikes and mountain bikes. Customers can rent these items by the day or the week. What are the variables or what are the independent variable and dependent variables involved in the cost of rental. If you look over here, the price per day is $18 for the beach cruisers, and if you do it per week, it's $50. The mountain bike is $30 per day, and the price per week is $90. So let's think about it. I'll pause. So in this one, we have to identify the variables involved for the cost of rental. So we have the beach cruiser, which is letter B, price per day, mountain bike, which M, price per week, which is W, rental, and total rental cost. So we're gonna be identifying which one of this is the dependent variable and independent variable. Let's try. So we'll see which one is dependent and which one is independent. Dependent means it stands by itself. So independent means it change, right? So if we're gonna, let's look for the one that will not change. So beach cruiser, these are the things that will not change. So definitely these are the rides, right? So that definitely is not gonna change, correct? So it goes to the dependent variable. Let's look for the other one that doesn't change. I depend on that. So the mountain bike for sure. All right. So length of rental, price per day, price per week, and the total rental. So those are prices. We could put it all to the independent variable. Oops. It means the total rental will be the dependent variable because that is the one that you always have the total cost, and you could rent it for a day or for a week or for 2 days. So those are the one that changes. The ride, so doesn't change, and it will always be a total amount. Okay. So we have here the cruiser depends on the rate per day. So the mountain bike will also depend on the rate per week. The length of the rental will depend on the cost of how much time you're gonna use it. The price per day is independent because that is a fixed rental. You're renting it for $18 per day. You're not gonna be changing it. Price per week will be independent because total cost of rental change. The total rental will be dependent on the bike and the length of time you're rented. So there we go. Let's try to solve this problem, all right? Let's see if we remember or if we need more examples. Gianna wants to rent a mountain bike by the week. Identify the independent variable that affect the total cost of the rent. Good luck. All right, in your book, let's look at this one. How do you understand and how do you know? I'll go around and help you out. All right. All right, guys. So that's our lesson for today. And let's do our self-assessment if we're good. And until next time, have a good day, everyone. And let's practice more. All right. Bye-bye. Until next time, guys. Bye.